Dolphins open up their preseason today versus the Bears in Chicago. It's been an interesting offseason, beginning at the end of last year's last game, when Tyreek Hill essentially said, he's gone. That's been bubbling since the Finns' blowout loss to the Jets in January. How would he be accepted by his teammates? Well, Tua shared his thoughts.
When you say something like that, you don't just come back from that with, hey, my bad. You got to work that relationship up. You got to build everything up again. And yeah, it's still a work in progress, not just for me, but for everybody.
We'll see how it goes. It's only preseason game number 1, and Mike McDaniel talks about what he's looking for.
There's a lot of young players on our team trying to find their footing within the team. And, part of the great thing about this 2025 team, in particular with the young guys, is they have the drive, the will, and the mindset to find a place on the team.
In just a bit, there will be footballs in the air, tackles made, points scored, and we're on it. This is Gameday Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. Tobin, Solana, with Omar Kelly on Miami Sports Leader, WQAM.
And welcome on in, everybody, to another edition of Game Day Uncensored. Brendan Tobin here with you alongside Alejandro Solana. He's playing hurt today, but he is here because he is super hyped for Little Dolphins preseason game number 1. How you doing, buddy? How you feeling?
We're back, Tobin. We're back, baby. Let's go. As soon as I heard NFL Films voice, I'm like, oh, let's go, man. Let's go.
He does. He does have a Goosey's-inducing voice. Dan Day here producing for us today. Hello, Dan Day. Good morning to you as we got another are you excited for Dolphins Bears, Dan Day? This one's got to get the juices flowing.
Man, Quinn Ewers, Zach Wilson, let's go.
We are excited, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Game Day Uncensored is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. By Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Shop over 22 acres of Cadillacs built for luxury and performance at Edmore's Cadillac. Start your game-winning drive today at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, EdmoreSawgrassCadillac.com. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business, a 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, and Margate. We will speak in hour number 2 today with Omar Kelly. We got a couple of hours here for you. I got to admit, I love talking to you guys. I do like the abbreviated 2-hour version. We will come at you full force 4 hours once the regular season gets going. But we got a couple hours here to get you ready for all the happenings of Dolphins and Bears. We will talk to Omar Kelly today at the start of the second hour. He was boots on the ground in Chicago. He is boots on the ground in Chicago. Yeah. He seems like he's taking a flamethrower to the Windy City, and he has riled up all Bears fans for calling them dirty, calling them too physical. I don't know how I'm loving this, Solana. I don't know how much you were in tune with the joint practice, the vaunted joint practice that went down on Friday. But apparently the Dolphins offense not only didn't do anything, was not only dysfunctional, but kind of got the snot kicked out of them from the Chicago Bears. Even some hits that have been described as borderline dirty. And, this is maybe riled up some people.
It riled up Dolphins players, right? It led to some frustration among or within the Dolphins themselves. Here's the thing, though, Tobin. Every year, there's joint practices around the NFL. And every year, this happens somewhere, right? Where one team is a little bit too physical or there's just a fight because two guys get into it and it kind of boils over. But then once the actual game happens, I feel like it doesn't ever carry over into the game. So I don't expect to see any sort of carryover into today. But am I upset that, maybe the Bears are a little too physical? Not really. I mean, it's what I expect. I really do. It's what I expect in joint practices, man. This is the first opportunity. We do the same song and dance every year. They finally get to hit somebody else, And look, the Dolphins were on the wrong end of it, but it is funny, Tobin, we're going to get into it all season long, the big question mark, are the Dolphins physical enough? Can they be a physical football team? And here we are, their first opportunity to go show that they could be the more physical team, and they're getting their asses handed to them by the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, it's not the best look in the world because, it's all we've heard is that they want to change the temperament of their team. And look, to be fair, I mean, the word was, I wasn't there, but the word was that the Dolphins defense gave it to Chicago on the other side, and they've revamped their offensive line, and they've invested a lot in Caleb Williams. But certainly with a Dolphins team where the reputation is they are finesse and that they are not tough, the Bears bring in a new coach this year in Ben Johnson, who comes from Detroit, which of course that means he's Man Campbell's baby.
Yeah.
And all Chicago was talking about this week on the rags there was that they had this practice earlier in the week where they were having 4 fights amongst themselves, and they were having the most physical practice, and they were tackling to the ground. And so maybe that's just what Ben Johnson is trying to instill. He's trying to bring Detroit to Chicago. And while Miami is still trying to shake this whole description that they, can't be a physical team and can't stand up to a physical team, yeah, it is unfortunate to hear because this is the thing that's tough with training camp is we hear all training camp long. Tua's throwing no picks. The offense is looking pretty good. The offensive line, Patrick Paul's looking like a monster. Jonas Savaitanaya is going to be ready to go. The only downside is there's been a lot of injuries. Austin Jackson's out. But as far as the play, it's been okay. And here they got their first measuring stick in a joint practice, and it seems like it didn't go that great. And we're not really going to get an answer today because I assume that I know the Bears aren't playing their starters, and I assume that, the Dolphins aren't going to rock with theirs either.
Yeah, there's no chance Tua throws a pass today, right? Like,
I don't think so.
Is there any part of you that feels like Tua throws a pass? I don't.
I don't really want, I don't really want him to play all preseason. I don't see the point in it. This is, this has become a very chic thing around the NFL about like who plays, who doesn't play. Like the Bengals are playing Joe Burrow because they've gotten off to slow starts the last 2 years. Is it going to matter that Joe Burrow played in the first preseason game? I don't think so. I don't really think that's going to matter, but you don't want to have the form of insanity. So you do something a little bit different. I think only bad things can happen with Tua playing in the preseason. Have his ass healthy and out there. I don't need an Anthony Richardson situation where he gets lit up because we have a backup right tackle in there. That seems stupid.
Yeah, it does. But I agree with you. I don't want to see Tua in the preseason at all. But I'll frame it to you this way. So much of what the Miami Dolphins are trying to do, I mean, you mentioned it right there, Tobin, that culture change, try to instill some sort of the lack of status quo going into this year, which has led to absolutely zero results. The types of results you want to see that the Dolphins haven't had in over 25 years. So here comes Mike McDaniel. Everybody's talking about it. You had that comment from Bradley Chubb where he says, yeah, like we were talking about it, but we weren't actually being about it, right? Like being a more physical.
I believe he
team.
said we were lying.
We were lying, yes. And if you're really trying to instill something new, I don't know, don't you have to go out there and prove like we're not afraid of injury, even though they're just absolutely being destroyed by injuries? Don't you have to go out there and prove like we're a different team? We're going to be a more physical team. We're going to play in the preseason. Like, can't you make that argument that it could help them playing in the preseason to have that mentality that they're trying to very clearly tell everybody that they have, which is we're more physical and we're going to go out there and be the aggressor this year?
Yeah, cool, but you can't prove that with Tua. Like, nothing he can do. If Tua went out there today, first of all, we know what it is with him already. Like, people, either love him or hate him or whatever. Nobody can be normal when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa. But if he goes out there today on 2 perfect drives, Solana, so what? Is that gonna change anybody's feelings about him and how this season is gonna go? I don't think so.
Nope.
Only bad things can happen with him playing in the preseason. And this is not a quarterback in year 2, 3, first year in an offense. This is 4th year with Mike McDaniel. This is 6th year in the NFL. What does he need it for other than just to say you did it? I'm sure he will next week get game reps. I'm sure that they will throw him out there. I'm just telling you, for me personally, I just want him out there week 1. I don't care about all this. It doesn't matter to me. To me, it doesn't matter. I think it's stupid.
And truthfully, it really doesn't matter at all what happens in the first couple weeks of the season anyways. Like, as much as whether or not it's fair, this season is going to be judged on one thing, Tobin. Do the Miami Dolphins win a playoff game? That's
Right.
it. That literally nothing else.
100%.
And it's not the best way to open up the first segment of our pregame shows for the entire season, but it's just the truth, right? Like, we're kidding ourselves here. If Tua goes down and the Dolphins don't win a playoff game, we're right back where we were a year ago. If Tua stays healthy, we're right back where we were 2 years ago, which is where you wanted to be. But did you win a playoff game? And if you didn't, there better be hell to pay at the end of the season.
We're streaming live on 104.3 WQM. New handle. We are on the FM dial now, which is exciting. Game Day Uncensored comes your way on FM 104.3 WQAM now. So we're shout out to everybody all over South Florida. This is a powerful signal.
You sound better, man. I was gonna say, this is my first show on 104.3 You sound a lot better.
I know. It's definitely not different at all, even though I'm still coming from a garage today. But it's it's very cool. It was a huge week for us to get this news. I do see some of our chat coming in. Patrick Humboldt says Tua needs it for pride after being dominated by the Bears in practice. He definitely doesn't. Trust me when I tell you, he doesn't, Patrick. Yeah. He could just move. No one is going to care once we get to week 1. He will not care about what happened in that Bears practice, getting his ass kicked or not. He will care about it the next time he plays the Bears in a real game. Yeah. That's when that will matter. But we'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored. We got to take you all the way up until kickoff. Omar Kelly is going to join us here on the show. Tobin and Solana, Dan Day producing for us. You got him coming up for you today. What is today's Game Day Uncensored post-game edition, Dan Day? What do we have planned coming up today after the Dolphins finish up with the Bears?
Immediately after the game, we got 1 hour, so short but sweet. Call in, have fun. Let's do this.
That's where you're only getting that down here in South Florida. You want to call in live and get your reactions. Dan Day has that for you. That is an open phone line. I'm sure we're going to have plenty to vent about. Speaking of Tua, you heard it on the Big Open, the big storyline that's probably been all through camp. Are Tua and Tyreek Hill, they cool? We'll take a break, talk about the dynamic duo coming up after this.
WQAM broadcasting live from the Ed Moore Sawgrass Auto Mall.
Welcome back, everybody. It is game day, uncensored here on 104.3 FM WQAM. I think I got that reversed. I'll get it. It's our first week on the frequency, everybody. It's preseason for us, too. We'll take you guys up until kickoff as the Dolphins are getting set for the Bears. They had a joint practice this week. Omar Kelly, he's going to join us coming up in about 40 minutes or so. He will pop on the show, and we will talk some Dolphins and Bears with him. He was boots on the ground for that vaunted joint practice. As I'm here with Solana and Dan Day. You can hear Dan Day coming up for you in the post-game edition of Game Day Uncensored. Back with you here for another season of Dolphins football, a very key season of Dolphins football as we are here in the Mike McDaniel era, year 4 for Mike McDaniel. A lot of people looking at him as the coach that is on the hot seat more than anybody else in football going into this year. Tough to argue with all the money that this team has been spent on and all the things that have been argued about them. It's been an interesting offseason, Solana. We've gotten, of course, the Jalen Ramsey trade where Jalen Ramsey and Mike McDaniel no longer could work with one another. And that, of course, led to Minkah Fitzpatrick being traded here. Jonnu Smith, no longer a Miami Dolphin. So we had this blockbuster trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that brings Minkah Fitzpatrick, who's got a sweetener deal with Drew Rosenhaus as his agent now. And, of course, Zach Sealer also getting a nice big old contract for the Dolphins as well.
The Sealer one makes sense to me, Tobin. You can't talk about culture change. You can't talk about, being a more physical team. And then you have your guy, right? The guy that was looked over, cut twice by Baltimore. Nobody even thought about taking him high in the draft. He gets an opportunity here. He proves that he belongs on this stage. He proves he's not only one of your best players, but also one of the leaders within your organization. You can't turn around and say, well, we're not going to pay that guy. So it made all the sense in the world to me to go pay Zach Sealer. He earned it. And we love Sealer. Sealer not up, as you would say, but he definitely earned that money. The Minkah stuff is super interesting. I know, we'll get into it over the course of the next couple of weeks, Tobin. Him being back, not talking to the media, he kind of cleared some of that stuff up as well. And then, look, man, Jalen Ramsey leaving, that one, I can't wait for some sort of book or some sort of Jalen Ramsey tweet one night when he's just going off on the Dolphins in the future to really find out what happened there. Did he and McDaniel butt heads? Was it just the fact that he doesn't think this team can compete and he wants to go elsewhere? Like what really went on behind the scenes there?
Yeah, and we'll get it eventually when you imagine once we get closer to that matchup this year. Yeah. By the way, Skylar Thompson balling out again yesterday in preseason. That's amazing in the preseason. This guy's crazy. Who figured this out? Everybody's talking about Shador Sanders this week. Look at Skylar Thompson. He's doing it once again. This guy's going to go down probably as the all-time preseason passing leader. I don't know who has that record, but I got to be thinking that he's the closest to it.
If you're somebody who only cares about preseason, I don't know if you exist. I don't know if there's somebody out there. But if you only care about preseason, Skylar Thompson is your Tom Brady.
Well, all the drama's not necessarily done for the Miami Dolphins. I don't really know where this stands, but obviously, this is the story I think that's left of the Dolphins drama, and that is how are things going to go with Tyreek Hill this offseason or this season? Because this offseason, a lot of damage control. They did not trade him. He's still with the team. And after the whole walking out on the field, the fourth quarter, he was dealing with a wrist injury all year that he did play through. He did get surgery on. Seems like, he had some personal stuff. I know that he was going through a divorce that maybe, put him more on the focus on football this offseason, because it seems like he got himself in tremendous shape. He said that he's lighter than he's ever been. But, with this team, you had to wonder, all right, how are they going to embrace a guy who was once their captain? I don't know if he will again this year. Well, that remains to be seen. But the Tyreek Hill thing definitely is one of those things that feels like it's getting better, but I don't know if it's resolved. If you guys didn't hear Tua, here's a couple of things from him in the offseason. And he said that he has seen a different Tyreek Hill this offseason.
I think there's a lot more vulnerability with Tyreek. He's conversating a lot more with the guys, not just about football, but about things off the field. Being vulnerable with some of the things that, people know about his personal life and things of that nature. And I think that's the first step to him building true relationships and a real connection with a lot of the guys in there. Everyone knows what he can do on the field. Everyone respects what he can do on the field. But I think, he's still trying to figure things out for himself as well. Kind of the man he wants to be. He's not too young. Like, everybody makes mistakes. It's just some people, they're in the spotlight, and their deals get pushed out more than some others. So, just got to cut him some grace. I mean, that's our teammate. We love him, but as a person, if you get to know him, I think you'd love him too.
That was Tua Tagovailoa earlier in training camp discussing all the things that Tyreek has been going through this offseason. And look, even at 31, people can change. People can improve. People can change. I'm sure that's one of the things that we're looking at.
But is Tyreek Hill people? I mean, that's the big question here, because you say people can change. Sure, people can, but can the cheetah change?
I don't know.
I don't think I buy that. I don't think the cheetah is changing, Tobin. But does that mean that this year he can't be more locked in on football and be a better teammate? I mean, it's not the craziest thing in the world. Like,
no, it's definitely not. I think, look, if he is going to have, there are already people wondering because of his production going down. And we know that there were other circumstances about playing hurt last year, playing with backup quarterbacks, going from record breaking to under 1,000, going from number one player in the NFL to the high 40s. This is still a prideful, competitive guy. I got to imagine that he knows that there's got to be some ownership, some bounce back from it. But it is, I do think it coincides with how his production goes, how the team's success goes.
Correct.
Can he get through if there is a tough start against division opponents? Is he going to be there with the Miami Dolphins? These are, I think, legitimate questions. Yeah. Now, this was the Tua part of that press conference that really went viral, which was the idea that he's still not all the way back with the Miami Dolphins. Here was Tua saying he's still working his way back, Tyreek Hill.
Sure. I would say we're still continuing to do that. But it's not just with me. It's with a lot of the guys. I'm not the only one that heard that. You guys aren't the only people that heard that. A lot of people that follow football, that follow the Miami Dolphins, that follow Tyreek, that are fans of his. Everyone has seen that. So when you say something like that, you don't just come back from that with, hey, my bad. You got to work that relationship up. You got to build everything up again. And that it's still a work in progress, not just for me, but for everybody. But like I said, he's working on himself. He's working on the things that he says he wants to get better with and do better on. So that's the first step to me. And so I commend him for doing that.
There you go. That was Tua on Tyreek, which, by the way, I thought that he handled that masterfully. I thought that was a great answer as far as being the face of the franchise. And I didn't think, I think people went kind of crazy with it, with not having the full run of the answer and run of the mill. Like, most of that was giving the guy credit on what he's done this offseason. I think when Tua says that he's not all the way back, my interpretation of it, Solana, has not been they're not cool now. My interpretation goes back to what I was saying is he needs to show that once the season starts, if things aren't going great, that he's a guy we can rely upon. I thought that was my interpretation of it, not that they're not all the way cool. It kind of feels like the relationship's all right now. Like, Tyreek Hill's wearing the Tua jersey. He's trying to be the good soldier for the Dolphins right now, but you can't really prove it until the season gets going.
What happens when this team faces adversity? How does Tyreek Hill respond? And I think, that's the biggest question mark with Tyreek Hill. It consistently has been, he's immature, right? Like, and Tobin,
oh yeah,
he's immature, but that's part of why we love him, which is why this to me is so, it's confusing, because I don't have a doubt that Tyreek Hill is still one of the best players in the National Football League. I don't have a doubt that Tyreek Hill is the best player on this team, talent-wise. And I don't have a doubt that if the Miami Dolphins want to win this season, want to get to their ultimate goal, which is compete and win a playoff game, they need Tyreek Hill, which is why I think the front office knows that as well. Okay, we don't want to get rid of Tyreek Hill. We want him here. We want him healthy, and we want him catching passes from our quarterback, who hopefully will be healthy as well. But what happens if he's not? What happens if the Dolphins do start 1-3, 1-4, as you mentioned? What happens if they go to Buffalo week 3 and they lose? How's Tyreek Hill going to respond then? Because last year, when it looked really bad and the Dolphins were at their lowest, man, he punted on the team. He told them, I'm out, deuces. I don't want to be here anymore. And you can't have your quote-unquote leader, best team, captain, whatever the hell you want to call him, quitting on the team. You can't have it. So that to me is a big question mark. When there's adversity, how is Tyreek Hill going to respond? And I think that's what Tua was trying to say.
Well, this was Tyreek Hill's response about a week later. And I thought that he also, I think that he kind of took it on the chin and moved through it. But this was Tyreek Hill on Tua's comments that he made about him.
I think, Tua comments were needed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's obviously the leader of our team, so he sets the standard. So I'm just trying to be the best teammate, best version of myself for this team I can be, man, every day. Showing up to meetings, coming out here every day, busting my tail in practice. I think it's important, man. So if you want to be able to leave a legacy, you got to be able to, consistently do those kind of things.
There you go, Tyreek Hill. And I think that he handled that pretty well too, because it's about as little drama as you can go. It feels like Tyreek and Tua are cool. I'm not quite sure about Tyreek and Mike McDaniel. I think that Mike McDaniel is a little still at an arm's length with Tyreek Hill, but they know that they need him. They need him for this offense to work. Yeah. I think there's been a very popular thing going about, Jalen Waddle is going to take over as wide receiver 1. I don't know, boys. I'm skeptical of that. I think that Jalen Waddle is going to have a fantastic year as long as the quarterback is healthy. Both Vegas has their, both Dolphin star receivers. They're over/under set at under 1,000, which is kind of wild.
They're begging you to take Tyreek over. It's set at 980 or 975.
It's crazy.
Begging you to do it.
But I don't see a world where both of those guys play a healthy season and Tyreek Hill doesn't end up with bigger numbers than Jalen Waddle.
And what's the idea there? That last year defenses figured out a way to stop Tyreek Hill? Because I'm not buying into that at all, Tobin. You had mentioned some people kind of are suggesting Tyreek Hill has lost a step, and I'm not there at all. I think he was injured last year, and he was catching passes from Tim Boyle. I mean that to me is the difference. If Tua Tagovailoa is healthy last year for all 17 games, and Tyreek Hill is playing out on the field for all those games, maybe he's not flirting with 2,000 like he was in 23, but he's north of 1,000 easy. I mean, the guy easily is north of 1,000. So I'm not sure exactly what to make of what that line is. If it's either, hey, Tua has to prove he's going to be healthy. If not, we don't know who's throwing passes to Tyreek, and we've seen what that looks like already, which was a disaster last year. The Dolphins couldn't move the football.
Yes.
Or does Vegas believe that he's lost a step? I'd go with the former.
Yeah, I think it's all based on Tua's health. Dan, you buy into any of the Jalen Waddle's going to take over as wide receiver 1 this year? Does that tickle your fancy at all, or do you think this is still Tyreek Hill's team, all things considered?
I believe he makes a step up, but I don't think he's going to overtake Tyreek Hill. I think it's Tyreek Hill still.
But the thing is, Jalen Waddle's super talented. The guy's one of the best receivers in the NFL. I don't think anybody would be surprised if Jalen Waddle had a big season. The question with Waddle is also the question with half the team. Can he stay healthy? Because how often late in the season, Jalen Waddle enters a game on all week long. He's on the injury report. He's questionable. He ends up playing. And then after 2 or 3 targets, he's on the bench with a rib injury or with an ankle injury. We've seen that way too often in his career. He struggles to stay healthy as well, Tobin.
I'm with you. I think that I think in a lot of ways, Jalen Waddle does get to skate because the other guys get more of the headlines, and look, they get paid more. So I get it, but he still gets paid handsomely. And I do think that if you talk about whoever gets the blame on this team, he very rarely does. I think he's still probably one of the more popular players on the team. We know that the owner loves him because he does the waddle. He loves doing the dance, even though Stephen Ross makes it a little sexy. But I don't know. I feel like we've heard this story too, that Jalen Waddle is going to take the leap. And I just think on a team with Tyreek Hill on it, I would be surprised unless the washed allegations are true. I would be surprised that Jalen Waddle finishes ahead statistically on Tyreek Hill. We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM as we march closer to kickoff. When we come back, we'll get into some of the biggest concerns that we have about this Dolphins team and some of the biggest reasons for hope going into this major critical season for your Miami Dolphins.
It's hot, humid,
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is game day, uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin here with you alongside Alejandro Solana. Dan Day with us as well. You'll catch Dan Day's post-game edition of Game Day Uncensored coming your way right after kickoff. Once we finish on up, you get an hour of preseason post-game coverage. Get your calls in live here. We're streaming live on YouTube and Twitch, the channel Miami 104.3 WQAM on Twitch, and on YouTube 104.3 WQAM for those who have not subscribed yet. Let's get to some keys to the game here, which is sponsored by Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall. And Solana, we got ourselves, I don't know if we're going to see the young bull Chop Robinson out there, but I will say one key for the Dolphins season is certainly what his success is going to be. And Jalen Phillips earlier this summer was talking about how Chop Robinson's future is bright and was even bringing up some possible accolades for him. Here was Jalen Phillips.
I truly feel like Chop is going to be one of the best players in the league very soon. I think he already is supremely talented, but the more comfortable he gets, the more confident he gets in everything he's doing, I think he's a future Defensive Player of the Year candidate.
Damn, I mean that is whoo. Those are some big words, dog, from Jalen Phillips on Chop Robinson. But Chop Robinson certainly came in on the second half of last year, Solana, and Jalen Phillips, who unfortunately got hurt last year after beating signs from the Achilles injury. Already seeing the talent that's there, and I think that's one of the big things everybody's excited about is this Dolphins pass rush potential.
Well, it's got to be, right? It's got to be elite because secondary, I think everybody would agree, is the biggest question mark on this team, aside from just like overall health. The DBs and the amount of injuries is ridiculous. If you can get Chubb, Chop, Zach Sealer, JP all healthy, then you incorporate Kenneth Grant. I mean, we're really talking about maybe one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. And you're going to need it to try to help compensate for what you're missing in the secondary. It's not, it's not a hot take. I think everybody would agree. So I think Chop Robinson is the biggest key to all of that because look, I mean, Tobin, I guess you can say it's a bit of a pessimistic view, but look, I don't know what I'm going to get from Bradley Chubb missing an entire season. I don't know what I'm going to get from JP, who's suffered 2 in back-to-back seasons, pretty bad injuries, right? That kept him out for both years. So I genuinely don't know. I hope they're back to 100% and they look to what they looked like 2 seasons ago. I hope, but you just don't know. Chop Robinson, to me, has to be the most consistent player on that defensive line. And if he is, like you're talking about, he could be one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, which is effing awesome because we're going to keep seeing the best celebration in the NFL.
So, boys, if I had to go to you for each one, first, your biggest concern going into this season for the Dolphins, like if you just had to narrow it down for one, what would you go with, Solana? What would be your number one concern for this year?
The number one concern, without a doubt, has to be Tua staying healthy. But that's just too obvious, and I don't want to talk about that forever. Tobin, my biggest question mark for this team, my biggest concern is what is the Dolphins' offensive identity?
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is, okay, greatest show on surf. They put up 70 points on Denver 2 years ago. Can they get back to that? Can Tyreek Hill be healthy? And can you maximize Tyreek and Waddle? And can you have the Lambo and the Ferrari? All that's great. But what happens come December? What happens when the Dolphins need, it's 3rd and 1 and they need to convert? What happens then? And we know that this team can be great in the summer months and in the fall. But in December and in January, when they need to be able to move the football, can they be that physical team? Can they change their identity, how they continue to talk about? And I think in order to do that, they have to prove that they can move the ball on the ground. And that's what I want to see. Can they prove that they can play against Buffalo and not be so reliant on Tua throwing the ball 30 times? Can they go run the football against some of the better defensive units in the NFL? That's my biggest question mark by far. What's the identity? Because if it's the same identity we saw 2 years ago, it'll be fun for the first couple weeks of the season. Not so fun towards the end of the season. We've seen it time and time again.
Yeah, no doubt. That's definitely been a problem for them to establish that line and be able to just make things simple. Like it just feels like sometimes they just try like just getting the simple things right, and because that is usually what succeeds for them. But they have not been able to figure that out. Dan Day, do you have a biggest concern going into this year? Is there a number one thing that you're just like, it makes you a little nervous about this year?
Your biggest concern is Tyreek Hill. When he has good years, we have good years. When he has bad years, we have bad years. If he checks out 4, 5, 6, 7 games into the season, and your best player is checked out, you're in a lot of trouble. So I would say Tyreek Hill is a good barometer of this team. So I would be keeping an eye on Tyreek Hill. That is my biggest concern. Is he bought in like he says he is, or is it Tyreek flapping his lips like he usually does?
Yeah, that's a fair thing. I think that drama is a huge concern. Like that whole, because we know this team, I think, is going to be the team that everybody's circling and being like, we can't wait to pounce on the drama that is the Miami Dolphins. Like I know it's a little bit with the Cowboys, they got the Micah Parsons thing, but truthfully, they're not going to have a lot of like the Cowboys. Whatever you think they're going to be, even at their best, I don't think they're going to be better than the Eagles. I don't think that they're going to be better than the Commanders. You know, the Giants got the one of the more interesting quarterback rooms, and they're New York. So believe it or not, even them, like I don't think that that's going to be. Even though everybody talks about the Cowboys, I think that that's almost going to be a whole season thing. They've already kind of gotten their jump on that. The Dolphins, everyone's kind of waiting for like the last Jenga block to get pulled over and everything to just go right. And we're going to know early because of all those divisional games early. And the Dolphins can shut a lot of that up if they can, mercy me, get a win over the Bills. I mean, I'm not even going to talk. That's like talking about unicorns walking through this room right now. But if that could actually happen and you could really change the feelings of everything going even into the year, even knowing that you'll have December looming. But man, I'm with Dan Day and the idea that I think that drama can really be a problem. I got to be honest with you though, the biggest concern, and it's already happened in this training camp, this offensive line not holding up is still got me nervous because it seems like, okay, Patrick Paul is probably gotten more praise than anybody this entire training camp. All anybody can talk about is what a monster he is. He's the Conor McGregor of offensive linemen. He's talking trash. Cool. I was nervous about that because I'm like, I have no idea if this guy's good. I still don't know because I haven't seen it in a game. So I'm still putting that up there.
He's got to be good, though, Dope. I mean,
I don't know that he's good, though. I don't know that he's good. I don't know that he's good.
9 feet tall, and he's 580 pounds of just pure muscle. Like, if they haven't coached him up to use that body, then I mean, what are we doing? Somebody's got to get fired.
I don't know that he's good. And then Austin Jackson already getting hurt. I was like, oh, another guy who's like, I don't know how. That's to his blind side. Their run game went to complete hell without him last year. And yeah, I mean, then I have a guy recovering from an Achilles next to him. Aaron Brewer and Tua, if I'm not eating my chips, I'm still concerned about their snaps. And Jonas Savaitinai, he's a rookie. I have no idea. I hope he's going to be awesome because they traded up to get him. It seems like the young guys are doing good, and that's great. But I don't know. And so that's still my biggest concern because it's always been the biggest concern with the Dolphins. If you can't protect Tua and this whole run game isn't going to be for real in the trenches, until I see it, I'm going to be concerned about it.
You could probably do this with every team. And I know it's an easy card to play. Like injuries are the biggest concern. And obviously, right, every team is one major injury away from their quarterback being out to their entire season being over. Like I realize that. But with the Dolphins, it's exaggerated a little bit because you come in to a couple seasons ago, you're the greatest show on surf. And then all of a sudden, your two best edge rushers go down. Tua had been dealing with injury already. You just start losing guys. And all of a sudden, you're in the wild card game in Kansas City with guys off the street trying to go out and get Patrick Mahomes. And then last year, week 2, Thursday Night Football. Tobin, think about how we talked about that game. Like, this is finally the game where the Dolphins are going to take down the Bills, and they're finally and it just disaster strikes.
Yep.
And Tua's out again. And then towards the end of the season, Tyreek is hurt. the way it all start, like injuries just consistently derail this team. And then you start the season, day one of training camp, you have somebody airlifted to the hospital. Like, just injuries consistently derail this team. You lose your only starting cornerback for the entire season.
Kader Kohu, yep.
Yeah. I mean, there's I don't want to do the curse stuff.
Well,
I don't want to do it, but it's hard. Like, I understand why people genuinely believe that this franchise is cursed.
What is all right? So let's not be rain clouds on everything. Do you have a biggest reason for hope? Like, what is the thing that if you were to be an optimistic otter over here and you wanted to really be like, yeah, things go this way, like what is the one thing that the Dolphins have that you're pretty excited about?
Yeah, and by the way, I do think there's reason for hope. You know, I was looking at the injury aspect of it, which I think is very serious, but I think the biggest reason for hope has to be the fact that last year everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. You know?
So you're giving us so you think they're due?
I'm not telling you they're due. I'm just saying.
It kind of sounds like you're saying you think they're due for good fortune. 25 years, dude.
Think about what I just told you. Everything that could have possibly went wrong a season ago. Everything went wrong. And sometimes things click and sometimes things go right. And I'm not telling you that they're due. They're going to go win a Super Bowl. But if Tua can stay healthy, the phrase you'll hear 10 billion times this season, if Tua can stay healthy, this team is still going to be a good football team. They're not going to be great. I don't think they can contend for a Super Bowl. But if they're healthy, they're a good team. They can put points up on other teams. And then they just got to be healthy for one game in January. And they can compete.
Hopefully in a mild condition as well. Not a game not a game that actually deals with winter. Dan, do you have a biggest reason for hope and optimism?
Well, I'll give you two reasons for hope and optimism. Number one, if you think that the Dolphins are a doomed team, stop thinking that way. I grew up in New Orleans where the Saints never had a winning season. They were doomed. God hated them because they called themselves the Saints, and they went out and won a Super Bowl. They got Drew Brees. Thank you, Dolphins, by the way.
We should have had Drew Brees, though, Dan. That's the problem. We should have had Drew Brees.
And this guy thinks the Dolphins are due for good hope.
As much as you think we're cursed, we're not cursed. We're going to be okay eventually. You got to live long enough. But my main reason for hope is Anthony Weaver. Look what he did last year.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Look what he did with nothing last year, a top 10 defense. This year, he's given nothing again. You got to figure he might be able to do it again. So Anthony Weaver is my biggest thing of hope. In the secondary, it does have its deficiencies, but you got a front seven and you got Anthony Weaver that's going to find a way to scheme things up. So I do believe that Anthony Weaver is our biggest hope for this season.
Yeah, is it weird that I agree with Dan? Like, I feel like it's not mine was going to be front seven. Like, I think that those guys being revamped, I mean, Chop getting that kind of praise, I actually think that's something a team can be scared about facing it. Should Kenneth Grant be awesome, which I think he will be. You got Zach Sealer locked up now. I mean, that feels like, you have the potential of being elite. I know that there are injury concerns for sure, but even if there's not, I think there's a lot of guys talking about in that room that edge room, those outside linebackers bring a lot of hope. Jordan Brooks was awesome last year. Willie Gay's having a really good camp. It does feel like, all right, and this is the thing that's crazy about it is, the identity of the Dolphins always seems to be on the offensive side, and this defense, a lot of the times it does give them a chance, and even with conditions being against them.
It did last year.
Yeah.
And we kind of assume that, hey, this is an offensive team. This is a team with all their horses on the offensive side of the football. And I know, Jalen Ramsey last year, and we could go down the list. There were certainly more quote unquote like names on the defense last year than there are this year. But at the end of the day, Tobin, I still feel like this team, their identity is an offensive team, but not like an offensive team that is going to totally rely on the offense to just win every single game. They have playmakers on that other side of the football. I remember Zach Sealer a year ago putting this team in position to go get points multiple times. So they're going to have to feed off of that. I agree, man. Anthony Weaver going into his second season, that's a huge, huge reason for optimism. And the front seven is, as we talked about earlier, like if those guys can be healthy and be consistent, hopefully you won't feel the secondary's lack of talent as much as you may have if injuries start to creep up on them.
I'm surprised none of us picked Julian Hill taking the leap this year as the reason for optimism.
I'm punting on my Julian Hill anytime touchdown prop with you every Sunday, Tobin. I can't do it, man. I lost too much money last year. My name is forever tied to Julian Hill on the Hockman, Crowder, and Solana show, which I'm not happy about.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
I think I read that he had another one called back. He had a touchdown called back in the joint practice. I'm like, oh no. A man who was at that joint practice is boots on the ground. He's boots on the ground right now from Chicago. Omar Kelly. He's going to join us coming up next here on Game Day Uncensored.
How'd you like to see the Zach and at the Sphere in Las Vegas this December? Dolphins Miami Heat, the 5-time college football national champions Miami Hurricanes, and Miami Hurricanes basketball.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Time to shake off the rust. Time to see who's got what. Time to play football. The Dolphins open up their preseason today versus the Bears in Chicago. It's been an interesting offseason, beginning at the end of last year's last game, when Tyreek Hill essentially said, he's gone. That's been bubbling since the Finns' blowout loss to the Jets in January. How would he be accepted by his teammates? Well, Tua shared his thoughts.
When you say something like that, you don't just come back from that with, hey, my bad. You got to work that relationship up. You got to build everything up again. And yeah, it's still a work in progress, not just for me, but for everybody.
We'll see how it goes. It's only preseason game number 1, and Mike McDaniel talks about what he's looking for.
There's a lot of young players on our team trying to find their footing within the team. And, part of the great thing about this 2025 team, in particular with the young guys, is they have the drive, the will, and the mindset to find a place on the team.
In just a bit, there will be footballs in the air, tackles made, points scored, and we're on it. This is Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. Tobin, Solana, with Omar Kelly on Miami Sports Leader, WQAM.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin here alongside my co-host Alejandro Solana. Dan Day producing for us. You got Dan Day coming your way. Game Day Uncensored post-game edition. As we got that for you, Dolphins have their first preseason game. Game Day Uncensored brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. By Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Shop over 22 acres of Cadillacs built for luxury and performance at Edmore's Sawgrass Cadillac. Start your game-winning drive today at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. EdmoreSawgrassCadillac.com. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business, a 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road in Margate. Let us go out to the guest line. He is boots on the ground right now in Chicago, and he is riling up all Bears fans because he has the audacity, and maybe I should say the audacity, to say that maybe they're a little too rough at that joint practice. Omar Kelly, how are you, my friend?
I'm fine. Yes, Bears fans are all in their feelings, but I'm sorry. I've been doing this for 20 years. I know what a joint practice is supposed to look like. I know what the intensity is supposed to be. In no terms ever are you supposed to hit the guy in the red jersey, which happens to be your quarterback. They hit two a couple times. I've shared some of the videos that Bears have put out as highlight plays of practice. This was a thud practice. That means you contact, nobody goes to the ground. They were body slamming players. The defensive Bears defenders were body slamming players. They were the first play of 11 on 11. They lit Eric Uzukama up going over the middle. It was a no-fly zone, like the old school, the plays that you would see from the Baltimore Ravens back when they were great defensive heyday. And it was a bloodshed. And unfortunately, the Dolphins offense, they weren't ready. They were not ready for that.
Solana, you're muted, buddy.
Do you think, Omar, that thank you, that the response from the Dolphins was not one appropriate enough for what it was that they should have been ready for? Or do you just think that the Bears were just being flat out dirty? What was it? The Bears came out, smacked them in the mouth, and the Dolphins did what?
No, the Bears were dirty. They were playing and practicing dirty. Okay. Now, obviously, you're the Miami Dolphins. You have this soft reputation. So what are you going to do if you're Mike McDaniel? You're going to go charge across the entire field and say, "Hey, Ben, your team's being too physical with us. Stop it." Like, no, he's not going to do that. He's actually trying to see how his players respond, how his team responds. But I mean, somebody should have said, or the ref should have got involved. And in my opinion, I have been there at practices where joint practices where players had been kicked out. Hell, I think last year in Miami, somebody got kicked out of the Redskins joint practice. The terms of engagement have been laid out. And if the Dolphins defense, which actually won their day, they pretty much dominated the Bears offense. If the Dolphins defense was doing the exact same thing to the Chicago Bears offensive players, they would be in your feelings. I mean, body slammed Achane, lit up Waddle, hitting Tua. Like, this was not like a one-off. Like, every receiver was getting lit up, not touched or thudded. No, they were being lit up. Now, it was important to see how the Dolphins responded. Clearly, they didn't respond favorably, but it was important. I can't say that, because at the end in the red zone period, where basically the practices end with a red zone period, each unit, first team, second team, and third team, got their opportunity to get it into the end zone. The Dolphins were the only team that got into the end zone. Now, in fairness to Chicago, they did get a pick six on Tua. So, 7-7, score 7-7. But Chicago was held 0-3 in their red zone opportunities. The Dolphins scored with Zach Wilson scoring, getting a touchdown. So the Dolphins responded at the end, but they still had 6 turnovers and 6 offensive line penalties in that day's practice. And if you just equate that to a game, you have absolutely no chance to win that game.
So where's the important time to respond, Omar? Because it's a preseason game. I know the Bears aren't starting their guys. Like, is it next week when they have, because Ben comes from Detroit, is it next week in joint practice when they go against the Lions? Like, when do you want to see the Dolphins kind of answer this?
You getting it today. If the Dolphins, my theory and take is, because the Dolphins defense can't see what's going on the opposite side of the field. They didn't know what was happening, because if they had known what was happening, they would have started lighting up the Bears' offensive players. So I think, this is my theory, that this Dolphins exhibition game is all live. You finna get it. You finna get it right now in terms of Chicago. Now, if the Dolphins play with the same kind of sloppy, kind of weak-minded mentality that they have, then, okay, the soft finesse reputation label is just going to continue to carry on, and every team is going to want to play you. The one thing I really, truly did learn about from Thursday scrimmage is that the Dolphins receivers clearly do not face press enough. They don't face it in practice, and it was it completely disrupted their offense. And to the point made Tua's throwing the ball, there's no receiver anywhere near. And if you know Tua, you know that that's not the norm. A receiver's supposed to be there. He's just been rerouted because he can't get off the line of scrimmage. And that to me was, okay, my bad on Weaver, because you're not helping this offense get prepared for the season, because you'd be an idiot to think that they're not going to face a lot of press this year.
Hey, but Omar, forget the scuffle and the physicality on Thursday. Forgetting that for just a second. Today, doesn't it benefit guys who are battling for a roster spot to go out there and just be physical as hell anyways? Because isn't this an organization, a team that is trying to instill that new mentality within the locker room, that they're going to be more physical, that they're not going to be punked, especially late in the season? So aside from the fact that, okay, they have to go out there and show that they're not going to get punked again, if you're borderline to make a roster spot and you go out there and you can prove that you can play that bully style football, it might end up helping you getting a spot on this roster.
absolutely no doubt about it. And based on what Teron Armstead said, the fisticuffs that the Dolphin on Dolphin punches was basically Jordan Brooks trying to encourage Tyrell Dotson, his inside linebacker mate. Hey, you should have smacked that guy instead of just tapping him, which is which Terrell is doing what he's instructed to do. Jordan's like, okay, we need to do more to let them know we're not playing. And it was clearly happening on the other side of the field to a point where, and I'm being just honest with you, and I know this is football is a physical sport, but I would have kicked out players from Chicago's practice like long time, because we're not talking about 1, 2, 3, like Jonathan Owens, Simone Biles' husband. Oh, he was lighting people up with like reckless abandonment. I don't know where he stands on their depth chart, but he's clearly trying to say, like, I want to make this team. Like, he lit up about 3 receivers. I would have kicked him out of practice a long time ago, because that crosses a line. Like, I get it. Like, you're trying to make the roster, but the rules of engagement are set. There was no live period. You're not supposed to be hitting people. That guy lit people up like 3 times. And when I say lit people up, I mean like concussion lit them up. I was surprised Jalen Waddle even continued to practice.
Omar,
it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah,
Now,
the thing that's
crying,
interesting about it, the thing that's
because this is a good thing for the Dolphins, because that film is embarrassing. You need to see this. You have to change this. It's not good. And Tua the same thing. That's why I'm hopeful that he plays, because I don't want Tua stewing on that for an entire week.
No, ridiculous. You don't have him play today, Omar. That's it. You can't do
No.
it. We're not winning anything today. They're not winning anything today. No one is going to care if Tua does. Let's say you've been saying this backup offensive line. Woof. Like, imagine his blind side just gets
He's never
lit up
play
today.
behind the backup offensive lines. No, that's not. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I see what you're saying.
You gotta live to fight another day. That's all I'm saying. That's why I'm saying play better in the joint practice next week if that's your moral victory. You know, you can't get him, but you can get you can't get Ben Johnson, but you can get his sensei Man Campbell next week. You know, like, that's where you got to look at it. You can't win anything today with Tua. Sit his ass down, figure out who's going to be the backup quarterback between Ewers and Zach Wilson, and just
it's not even a discussion. It's going to be Zach. Now, should it be a discussion? Yes, but that's not how things operate around here, which also feeds into the soft mentality.
Yes.
Just being honest with you. I hear what you're saying. I need to win my pride. And my pride
in
was
August.
Is my pride important or not? The Chicago Bears, literally, you know how you slap somebody, you slap them with both sides of your hand?
Yes.
That's what happened. It wasn't just one slap. It was like, I slapped you going this way, and then I come back and I give you the backhand. And like, you did nothing.
But Omar, if the Dolphins have to win their pride preseason game number 1 against the Bears, who haven't won 10 games since 2018, then do they really have pride? Do they really have pride? Like, I understand what you're saying. Hey, you got punked, and I get it. But who cares? It's the Bears. The Bears are going to finish last in their division next year. Who cares?
That's fine. Let's flip this. What if you watch this game and you see them get punked, and you see round 2, and it's the same thing? It's a 10-8.
Is the backups who are getting punked? Like, I think it
don't matter. It don't matter.
You know what teams, Omar, come out preseason game number 1 and try to punk other teams? Teams that are going to finish last in their division. Teams that are going to finish last in their division. That's it. The Dolphins don't care. I'm being honest. I don't care if the Dolphins lose this game 100-0 today. Who cares? It's the stupid Bears. They're not going to win a playoff game. The Bears.
Okay.
Get out of here with the Bears. You're going to put Tua out there to play against the Bears? What? They're going to finish last. They're going to finish last.
I'm putting 2 out there because he needs to cleanse the one of the worst practices he's ever had.
Yeesh.
He needs to cleanse it. I don't care if he's
I think you're getting caught up in a little preseason hype, Omar. I got to be honest. I mean,
No. This ain't about a preseason game. If you had watched practice, this is about my pride. This is about their pride. They got punked, and in my mind, if you get punked in this game, no matter who's on the field, then I'm gonna look at it and say, okay, you're still a soft team. You're still a BA team. But nothing's changed. But you've spent all this time trying to ensure that something's changed, trying to ensure that you're tougher, you're more physical, trying to ensure that you're not going to fold when the pressure mounts, but you do it again.
Let me ask you, Omar, because you've seen every practice leading up to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Were you surprised that this happened? Not just the physical, but like the idea that these guys got bullied like that. Like, did you watch all the practices and thought they were more physical than they usually have been?
Yes, absolutely. They've been having physical practices. Absolutely. Okay. I was stunned. I was stunned at what I saw. And on many fronts, was Chicago in the wrong? They were. But it was your job to respond to it. And you didn't. You really cowered.
Man.
I literally saw people like I could name the guys who didn't back down. And a lot of them backed down. I saw some people fight, and it was dirty. It was I'm not even gonna lie to you. It was dirty. But this is football. It's gonna happen. In this game that's about to happen right here, nothing that they did on the field would do anything but maybe draw. Now they would have drawn some penalties. They probably would have got like about 45 yards of penalties and intentional roughness. I mean, there's a video. I retweeted it. You see them slamming Devon Achane to the ground. This is a non-contact practice.
Do you really think, Omar, in the Dolphins locker room, you really believe that there's like a conversation about we have to go out there and prove
Absolutely.
our
it was
physicality towards them?
I didn't even bring in the melee at the end of practice. We didn't even talk about that.
Oh yeah. So Mike McDaniel was where was he in all this? Like where like how did this go down?
He got into the middle of it and to separate the players. But Teron Armstead had to get in it. Tyreek Hill had to get it. Like literally, it was a fight. It was like you know those like WWE like steel cage matches, like where like everybody's in the middle of the ring just throwing haymakers and hitting each other. It looked like that. I swear to you, I was shocked. And the Dolphins were fighting for their pride, and I respected that. And you saw the people who were like, yeah, I'm not backing down. The Beard, the guy who started the fight, he was like, yeah, I had to show that little boy.
I saw that.
Man.
I saw that quote. Like, that was rough.
Y'all don't understand the level of disrespect the Bears had. They were like, you're our sons. We are going to big boy you. Like, if you don't come out here and like, I don't care who's on the field. I don't care what the end of the score is. You better play like you got some damn pride. Otherwise, it's same old, same old.
Omar Kelly, appreciate you stopping by, man. Like, we got to go to break.
Yeah, they got to, like what you saw with the slam of Devon Achane to the ground, somebody got to get slammed to the ground today.
Somebody. This is the heaviest state. Like, he's got me so fired up for the first preseason game because if the Dolphins don't show pride, they're done. They're cooked for the year.
That's it. They're done. Yeah. Same old team.
Does Teron Armstead need a hobby?
Hey man, let that man get his football fix somehow.
Enjoy the game, Omar. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Talk to you later.
Oh man, we'll continue on here with Game Day Uncensored. Tobin Solana here with you on FM 104.3 WQAM. We're back with more after this.
WQAM, broadcasting live from the Ed Moore Sawgrass Auto Mall Studios.
Radio or TuneIn apps. Don't miss a thing.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Game Day, Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin here with you alongside Alejandro Solana. Dan Day with us as well. You guys can catch Dan on the post-game edition of Game Day Uncensored. Coming at you for 1 hour afterwards. Let us get to our starting lineups, which are brought to you by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business, a 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate. Solano, we got a little news on the break as far as the Dolphins and who may play. Now, doesn't mean they're officially playing, but I'd be surprised that if he is dressed, that he's not playing. But according to reporters, Joe Shad, Dave Feronis, Omar Kelly, Tua is dressed and warming up. So it looks like Uno is going to go out there and play today.
That's crazy, man.
All right. I mean,
no Waddle or Tyreek Hill.
No Waddle. Waddle is not dressed.
Tyreek Hill's not dressed either.
Not surprising.
Warm-ups.
Yeah, Tyreek has been dealing with an oblique, so it's not surprising that he's going to play. But Tua is going out there to play.
That's crazy to me, man. I'm sorry. That's crazy to me. All this, and look, Omar, we love Omar, and I'm not saying that he's wrong. He's there. He's got a better gauge for it. He's done this for a long time. But the idea that the Dolphins truthfully have something to prove preseason game number 1 to me, because the Bears with a brand new head coach came out, were a little more physical than the Dolphins were for a practice. You're going to put your starting quarterback out there, to me, is like asinine. It's insane.
Me too. Like, it's like, hey, you got to, okay, so you've already played them in a practice and they've shown that they're a little bit reckless. Now you're going to put them in a game where they're allowed to hit Tua for the first time. Great. I mean, look, I hope we win our pride. I mean, and again, I am also not disagreeing with you. Omar was boots on the ground. We were not. I also find confusing that a lot of Bears fans are mad at Omar, because I can tell you as a Panthers fan, like when I hear all this whining about, oh, my team was dirty, they were too physical, I'm like, good, sorry. Yeah, Nico Mikkel is a polar bear on skates. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's how it is. So when I hear that, if I was a Bears fan, I'd be fired up as hell. And a lot of them have been, that they're like, this is going to be the identity of the team. It's not going to be this finesse style. They have a coach who's coming from Man Campbell's system, which you feel like you're going to probably face a little bit of that next week as well, where you take on a Lions team that is also known for their physicality.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Look, all right. So what if he is going to play? Let's switch it to this. What do you think it turns into? Like, do you think we see him for a couple drives? Do you think it's a first quarter? If he is going to be out there and he is going to get work, which it appears that he is, what do we see from him?
3 handoffs and you call it a day. I mean, here's my thing, Tobin. Okay, you're going to put 2 out there, but you're not going to have the offense out there. So what's the point? Like, what is he? If you're gonna make the argument, right? If you're gonna make the argument, hey, preseason reps help. You want him ready by week 1. Okay, I can buy into that. I truthfully can. I can buy into it's great to have some reps. But if the reps aren't to the guy that to the guys, plural, that you're actually going to be throwing to, then they're just empty reps. They're reps that don't matter. So I truthfully don't understand this idea that they're going out there to prove something. I can't buy into it, man. I just can't. I'm sorry. I can't buy into it.
I'm going to get this video for our audience, because Omar has just tweeted out, and I think this is insane behavior by the Miami Dolphins. Omar Kelly has just tweeted out a video of Zach Sealer bringing everybody to the center of the field and is giving a rah-rah speech to everybody out there. And he's dressed, by the way. Zach Sealer, of course, man's man. He's going out there to play football.
Well, he got paid, so he's like, whatever. He doesn't care.
Oh, good. Not that anybody can hurt him anyway. He's just made out of like cowboy boots and toughness. That's just Zach Sealer. But like, This is from Omar's from his Twitter account. He just posted this, and you can just see like he's getting everybody gathered around. Very poignant. Zach Sealer, who's bigger than everybody, and is just getting everybody out there. You can see in the back there, no Cheetah, no Waddle dressed to go. But yeah, these Dolphins mean business. These Dolphins, man. We're gonna you know what the thing is? Hey, don't lose if you're gonna go do this. Then, if you're gonna go out there, I'm talking about the first half. I don't care what the score is, but I'm saying if that is the case, then don't embarrass yourselves and get beat down twice, because the only thing more embarrassing than you getting jumped and complaining, oh, we weren't playing by those rules, is now you know what the rules are, and then you go get your ass kicked too.
And you get punked. You get punked again after you do this entire pomp and circumstance of the Zach Sealer preseason game number 1 in the middle of the field huddle with the entire team.
It's I guess. Look, good. But I hope the worst doesn't happen. There's 2 more of these. I don't know if you guys realize this. I know we're starving for football. There's 2 more of these that we got to go through. There's going to be one where they do nothing because it's going to be all about, rookies going. I honestly, Solana, this is the thing. I come into to today's game and I was like, even with Tua not playing, I actually thought that this was going to be a game that was important because, as Omar mentions, the Quinn Ewers, Zach Wilson thing should be a discussion. We had just seen Shedeur Sanders ball out for Cleveland.
Right.
And I was kind of excited to see, as much as I can be, a preseason battle between Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers and be like, all right, let's see if Quinn Ewers can turn some heads, because obviously it is Zach Wilson's job based on them paying him a lot of money inexplicably. But I was like, oh, it did feel like there were some stakes going in here. The idea that the Dolphins are going to have some level of pride here for the first couple of drives is a little weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just goes into this idea that they're trying to change the identity of the team, and they're I get it. I can see why Mike McDaniel in the locker room is trying to make this something. I understand it. They're trying, Tobin, desperately to change the way that they all think about themselves and about the team and about how they approach the game. So I understand why, hey, we got punked in a practice. We get our opportunity 3 days later to go play this same team. Let's go. But I also think you have to put the context of what it is you're doing, which is it's a mother effing preseason game.
There's nothing to win.
Let's relax.
Here's the thing, guys. Could you imagine? Let's say the Dolphins. Let's say this, Dan. Let me take you to fantasy land here for a second. All right. The Miami Dolphins today go out and they shut out the Chicago Bears in preseason football, 28-0, and they embarrass Caleb Williams, and Zach Sealer sacks him and then paints his nails to mock him, and Tua Tagovailoa has a perfect first 3 drives, and cool. Do you think, I'm going to ask you this, Dan, do you think you, me, Solana, on any of these Game Day Uncensoreds, once we get to Thanksgiving, is going to talk about this?
Yeah.
Really?
I do. Your whole thing this preseason has been, we got to change the culture. You just got punked. Where I come from, you don't take that lightly. They're going to go out there. They're trying to set a tone. They're trying to change the attitude. If you want the same 25 years of letting teams walk all over you and treat you like you're a finesse South Beach team, go ahead and do that and let the Bears handle you. Go ahead and let the Lions handle you, and then see what it gets you in the regular season. Put somebody on notice. At least put yourself on notice to let you know that you are tough and that you can fight back, because I haven't seen this team fight back very much over the past couple of years.
That's definitely true.
I would like to see a little bit of fight back today. I'm sorry. Throw Tua out there. If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. He's going to get hurt anyway. So go out there and fight. I'm fired up. I'm ready for this preseason game 1. For some reason, I don't know why, because apparently the Bears want to start a fight. I'm not bringing a knife to a gunfight. I'm going to bring my guns. Let's go. Let's throw.
Here's the thing, though. I agree with Dan Day. I want to see some fight back. But you know who I want to see fight back from? Grayson Murphy. Alex Huntley.
Let's put Tua in saran wrap all year
Matthew
long
Butler.
and protect him, and let's bubble wrap him all
Now
year
you're
long.
talking.
And don't play. Let's just not play him, because you could get
You
hurt.
shouldn't play him.
Let's
You
go.
people are insane.
Preseason?
You guys are out here and you want competitive, great football in August. This is insane
Yeah.
behavior by everybody.
So that's why you haven't won a playoff game in 25 years, is because you don't fight back. You don't take things serious. You always wait till the next one. Go out there and fight.
The Bears might not make the playoffs
By
either.
the way, if Tua ain't smart enough to keep himself out of harm's way in a preseason game against a bunch of backups, well, then he can't keep himself out of harm's way in a real game.
Well, yeah, I think you just nailed it, Dan. And by the way, are you telling me? And I admire what Dan Day is doing here because I think he speaks for a lot of people. But are you telling me that the difference between the Miami Dolphins changing their culture and winning a playoff game is starting Tua Tagovailoa in preseason game number 1? That's the difference here. That's the difference. That fixes all the problems.
The Miami Heat, what would they do in this situation? They would show their culture. They would go out there. They'd be tough. They'd play their guys. Now, you can't say the Heat have this culture and then go on the other side and say, oh, the Dolphins, they don't need to be putting anybody out there. The Heat would not stand for this.
Matthew Tkachuk is not fighting anybody on the first end of a doubleheader in preseason hockey. He's saving
Matthew
that
Tkachuk fought a dude in an exhibition and hurt himself. So don't give me that.
It was such a bad decision by him. He hasn't been right in 2 seasons.
Crazy.
But it was for America. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
Well,
he did that for America.
That's true.
Oh, man. This is the highest stakes preseason game of all time, boys. We've just determined it. We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM. We'll predict our game balls. Who do you got to watch in this game? Apparently Tua. Apparently Tua is going to be out there. We're watching him. We'll take a break. Final segment coming on up before we get you ready for kickoff. Back after this.
This hurricane season, keep it on 104.
All right, welcome back, you rascals. Game Day, Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin here alongside Alejandro Solana. Dan Day. Apparently, everybody in the Dolphins fan base is ready for a fight today. I don't know what the hell has gone on here. Where everybody is this red hot over a practice? None of us saw. We saw 3 highlights. There was a melee involved. We are so furious about it. D. Eskridge got called a little boy by one of the DBs on the Bears. The Dolphins were fighting themselves. Teron Armstead is just podcasting about it because he has no hobbies. And now everybody needs Tua to go out there and throw up 300 in a preseason game.
This is crazy, man.
I've never seen this fan base more insane with itself.
This is absolutely insane, man. I mean, it's not like if this game was against the Ravens, all right, fine, right? Like that's a team that you have to prove something against, and they punked you, and hey, we're gonna see you again in December. We'll see you in January. Fine. We're talking about the Bears, like they're the laughing stock of the NFC, and we're talking about the Bears to go out and prove something against Chicago.
But I think that's where everybody's at right now, Solana. We're so down on our manhood as a football team that if we can't punk the laughing stock of the league, that makes us the laughing stock of the league.
Yeah.
Which, fine. I mean, this is how I'm going to be with you guys, okay? If this is what you want, I'm coming along for the ride, but I'm not happy about it, okay? So I'll be there with the fight, but I'm going to be like, if anything bad happens today, I'm going to be like, I told you so, okay? And now we're stuck with Quinn Ewers against the Bills week 3. Yeah. So I just want to be clear. That's where I stand, but I'm going to be here fired up, and I'm going to be doing Sealer It On up in my living room. Even though I can't bet player props today, which is, doesn't really make it a football game. Just want everybody to know, by the way, it's not a real football game if you can't bet player props. That's the rules.
That is 100% correct. It is not a real football game.
If you can't do that, like, did you guys not see Anthony Richardson get his finger mangled in a game that didn't matter? Even though it was, I guess, his fault. I don't know. That finger shouldn't have been pointing that way.
I love this from Alan Pupar, writes for SI.com. Real field temperature of 100 degrees at Soldier Field. What is going on here? What are we doing? What?
This is crazy.
Mike McDaniel, man, he wasn't joking with his 1 day closer to death comments. Like this guy's out of his mind.
According to, I guess, the preseason broadcast says that Tua is only expected to play 1 offensive drive versus the Bears.
Yeah, it's going to be, I'm telling you, 2 handoff, or first play is going to be a slant, and then they'll just hand it off 2 more times, and that's it.
Got to get that drive in, guys. You're proving your manhood.
Crazy.
This is insane. Let's get to our player to watch, which is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. Who is your player to watch, Solana? Who do you have your eye on in this first preseason game?
Okay, Tua Tagovailoa. Let's go. Uno. You want to go out there? You want to throw on the pads? All right, fine. I'll bite. Let's go. Uno. I want to see what you do. Drive number 1. Let's see you throw a pass for 4 yards. It's going to get completed. Whoever catches is going to go straight down. They're going to hand the ball off 2 more times and punt it to the Chicago Bears. There's your first drive. That's what I want to see from Uno.
This is ridiculous. Dan Day, who do you have your eye on in this first preseason game?
Well, first of all, your guys' soft attitude has got the Dolphins right where they need to be this year. Thank you very much. I'm going to go Kenneth Grant. I want to see what the first round pick has done. Chris Greer, Cam Smith is not going to work out. I'm sorry. I break that to you. So let's see. Maybe this first round pick, we can hit on something. And I'm not even asking him to get sacks or pressure. I just want to see him perform well. That's all. Kenneth Grant.
I'm with that. I like that, Dan. By the way, we had Chris Perkins on like 2 weeks ago, Tobin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you heard it, but we just asked him like, hey, what's the deal with Cam Smith? And before you can even finish saying Smith, he's like, he's cracking up.
He's done. He's a bust.
A guy.
It's over.
Just dunzo.
Doesn't play. I mean, they said it like, look, they said that basically Chris Greer said it, whatever press conference it was. He brought it up unsolicited. He goes, we can't hold the guy's hand anymore. Like they're so rats off a ship. They know they drafted a bust. I don't know. Wasn't he teammates with Chris Greer's son?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. They were friends.
Awesome. That's evaluation right there. Trust me, bro. That's what we got for our evaluation on Cam Smith. Either way, man, I got a lot of guys. I think the running backs I'm kind of excited to see. I want to see Jalen Wright do well. I want to see what Ollie Gordon's got. I want to see what those guys bring to the table because I think a lot of us Alexander Madison supposedly had a good camp. He also had a bad practice this practice. He had 2 fumbles.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would like to see outside of Devon Achane, I would like to see what those guys have in the run game, what they're going to bring to the table. Leroy Hoard, the great Leroy Hoard, always says running the football is very hard in the preseason. A lot of people made that with Ashton Genty having a rough debut. So I'd like to see if any of those guys can bring something to the table.
How do you think that shakes up, by the way? We haven't really talked about the running backs, and other than the tight ends on the offensive side of the football in terms of like actual outside of the offensive line. That's probably the more interesting battle, right? Like, is it going to be Ollie Gordon? Is it going to be Alexander Madison? I think there's an argument to be made for both. I don't know. Do you think it comes down to the preseason, Tobin? Like, do you think these games genuinely matter? These reps matter for that who's going to be third behind Jalen Wright?
I'm always going to assume the rookie running back's going to play the least because he's got to know the offense. And so I'm going to assume that Ollie Gordon's going to probably make his way somewhere in the middle of the season. But I think it's probably going to be, if I had to guess, it's going to be Achane, and then your next running back's going to be Wright. That's what I feel like. They drafted him. They liked him a lot last year, and I think that's where it's going to go. But Madison's supposedly having a very good camp up until this joint practice.
Yeah. Well, I just think, look, man, like I don't want to say he's proven because there's a reason why he's on his third team in 3 seasons or whatever, third team in third season. But like, if the Dolphins need short yardage situation, I feel like he's somebody I trust more than a rookie running back, and I think that's such a major flaw of this offense. They have to try something different, and I'm willing to try somebody who at the very least I know can just be a bulldozer. Give him the ball and he's gonna put his head down and go get you a couple of yards.
No, he's a moose, and he had a really, really good junior year. Like, I think that's what everybody is excited about. And even like, we go back to Tyreek Hill. We started the show talking about Tyreek Hill, and one of the things that was funny between him and Mike McDaniel was when he was trolling about having Jalen Wright as their third down short yardage back, and he goes like, "Let's go with somebody else. I don't know, maybe the 6'2" guy instead of the guy who's 5'8" and 160. Let's just try something different." Which, listen, that's a fair evaluation, but I think, you draft Ollie Gordon and you're like, all right, we're beefing up a little bit back here. I think that it certainly needs to be part of it, but they also they need a line that gets them that push and can get that fixed as well. That's what you're really hopeful for, is that left side with Patrick Paul and Savaianaya is good to go. Aaron Brewer, I think everybody was pretty pleased other than the gnarly snaps with Tua, that he had a pretty good first stint with the Miami Dolphins. James Daniels, I haven't heard a lot of concern about how this Achilles thing is looking. So I do think for the majority of the line, Larry Borum is the guy who's going to go out there today and play right tackle. Please protect Tua's blind side, Larry. Please. Wasn't he a Bear? I feel like Larry Borum was a Bear.
Ooh.
Revenge game? Listen, if you guys are going to go with physicality, I'm going revenge game.
Yeah, he was a Bear. Drafted by the Bears in 2021.
There you go. Revenge game for Larry Borum.
All right, there we go.
That's what it's all happening for us. But no, like, I thought we were going to come in today. The guys that I was going to be looking for is like, I thought we had a legitimate QB2 battle, which I guess we will. Tua's reportedly only going to do one drive. But like, what is Tua going to do? Is Tua going to do something like out of the replacements where like he ducks and like flips one of the linebackers? He goes, he's like, that's what for Thursday. That was for Friday. That's what we're here for.
It's crazy. I refuse to believe that Mike McDaniel wasn't going to start Tua in this game, and because of what happened in that practice, he changed course. Like, this had to have been the plan all along. I refuse to believe that there's like some sort of bravado going on within Mike McDaniel's head where he's like, all right, everybody, let's go line up. We're going out there today. Like, get out of here with that, man. There's no way. They were going to play the whole time.
I hope. Well, he never said that they weren't. So
right.
I'm going to assume that was the case. But I just think that my stance hasn't changed from what Omar said. I told you guys in the first hour of this show, like, I don't see the purpose in playing Tua in the preseason. It's stupid. He's a veteran. It's not needed for him. He knows this offense like the back of his hand. He knows his teammates. I don't really see the purpose of it, but it is what it is. He's out there, so I'm wrong. He's going to go out there and he's going to give him a drive. Does any of it matter? He can go out there and throw a bomb to, Malik Washington. And nobody's gonna believe in him any more or less. You guys have your feelings on Tua. And look, as somebody who's defended Tua for his career, I feel like, because you have to have this weird thing where you're a Dolphins fan, but you also have to like your political party have to, do I root for Tua or am I skeptical of Tua? I've always rooted for Tua, but I'm not dense enough to not realize that, yeah, he's got other things to prove for this team, that he has to be able to win important games, stay healthy, win in prime time. Can you throw me a Cowboys and a Rams game? Sure, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Come on, dude. Let's grow up. We know what we need to see from Tua. He's got plenty of great qualities that we all like, but he also has some proving to do, which a lot of quarterbacks in the AFC do. But he's got to get even above the first level. He's not even at the Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson place yet, where he's won and now he's got to beat Mahomes. He's got to get to beat Josh Allen in the regular season, maybe win the division, maybe win a play. So none of that is going to get proven in these next 3 games. None of it. It's stupid to have him out there, but whatever. I'm not going to, hopefully he gets out of this clean and healthy and we're good. But if he doesn't, I don't even want to know what I'm going to think.
He'll be all right. It'll be okay. I'm telling you, he's going to get the ball out within a second of snapping it. They're not going to risk him getting hurt in preseason. It's ridiculous. It's just
risk.
Ridiculous.
What do you mean? I mean, every time he goes out there, it's a risk. This is the first time that it's live bullets going out there for him.
He'll be fine. He's going to hand the ball off.
Larry Bourne protecting his blind side.
One pass. You'll see. It'll be one pass. Remember a couple years ago, was it in Houston, first preseason game, play action, first play, he threw a pick six or he threw an interception on the very first play of preseason. He threw an interception in Houston. And we're like, get him out of there. And then he came back. He played like the entire first half or close to it. And he ended up having a pretty good. He'll be fine. It'll be okay.
No, I'm sure he will be fine. But here's the one thing we should grow up from him is like, we don't have to evaluate everything from him anymore. We know he's got an extension. He's not going anywhere for at least this year, probably next year. And it is what it is. Nothing that happened. He could go, and I'm saying this is only, he could go out there and he could throw 2 touchdowns today in one drive, and I wouldn't give a rat's ass. It doesn't matter. Yeah. He needs to do it Thursday Night Football against the Bills on short rest for once.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what he needs. This team proving something because of some practice that got a little froggy. Okay. Guess what, guys?
I don't get it, man.
That's their MO until they go and win a playoff game. How tough they tackle doesn't matter. It's stupid.
I'm not arguing with you, man. I'm not arguing with you. I could not agree more. Like listening, because I saw the back and forth on social media, and man, like I don't know, maybe being there, you could have gotten a different feel for what was really going on. But yeah, we started off the show today, Tobin. Like, what'd you make of the practices? Like, joint practices got a little out of hand, a little physical. Yeah, that happens in the NFL. Like it is what it is.
My guy Timbo Slice on Twitter goes, I've never heard you sound like more of a coward. Tighten up. Okay, great. All right, guys, let's go win this. Hey, let's go win this thing on August 10th. Football, game day uncensored. Man's men out there. I want Zach Sealer to stone cold stun Caleb Williams, who's, by the way, not playing today. By the way, for all the bravado the Bears are bringing, is Caleb Williams playing? No, he's getting a manicure. He's gonna be sitting there with his tootsies in the bubbly water while the Dolphins and the Bears are fighting over themselves. That's the team you're trying to outman. The team that doesn't have their quarterback playing today or their starters.
They're posting videos of Tyson Bagent warming up right now. That's what they're doing.
Way to prove a point.
The Bears have posted hype videos of Tyson Bagent warming up at Soldier Field.
Bernie says it's not about winning today. Then what is it about? It's about sucker punching a bear. Simone Biles' husband.
I would have preferred Tyreek Hill just slide in her DMs, slide in Simone Biles' DMs. That would have sufficed. That would have made up for everything.
You want him to drop the "I'm a great stepfather" line on her?
Yeah.
Nick Westbrook-Akine needs to go out there and show something. Be a man. Taj Washington, it's time for you to earn your stripes. I know one person who's going to hurt somebody. That's going to be Julian Hill and my wallet.
He's going to hurt your. He's going to hurt your wallet. He's also. He's going to hurt the rest of the team because his 5 offsides or false start penalties. They're all going to have to run laps on Monday or tomorrow at practice.
NAA says it right. Today is about seeing what depth we have during the season, which the Dolphins never have. It's a meaningless preseason game. It's important to see who we're keeping. Yes, that's a sound opinion to have. That's what it's about. Let's see who actually can contribute to wins this season. The Bears getting out here because the Bears are more manly. Yeah, they're going to be manly until they have to face the Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings.
That's why this is also funny to me. Like the idea that, people are telling us, oh, they have to go out there and prove that, they can't get punked by the Bears. What do you, you're proving that you can't get punked by the worst team in the division?
I'm tuning into Game Day Uncensored post game, Dan, because I want to hear you be proud of your Dolphins for kicking their ass.
I've been part of whack-ass organizations, okay? And whack-ass organizations go out and whack-ass it in a preseason one. You know what real organizations do? They go out and take it serious. So if we want to be a whack-ass organization, we can go out there and act like the Bears don't count, or we can go out there and have some pride and do. That's just what I'm saying.
But he's playing the drive.
Doesn't matter.
Just
the
one
attitude.
drive.
Okay, I've been a part of the Pelicans organization. Whack-ass. I've been a part of the Heat organization. Not whack-ass. Guess what organization takes things a little more seriously all the time?
But this would be like Zion Williamson going and playing every single minute against the Memphis Grizzlies in the preseason and being like, yeah, that's going to change things. If he gets hurt, if he gets hurt in September, or if he gets hurt in the first week of games, then they're like, same old Zion.
Well, let's just bubble wrap Tua and save him for the postseason.
Exactly, dude. Now you're speaking my language.
I kind of like that idea, actually.
Game Day Uncensored. It's great to be back with everybody here in crystal clear FM 104.3 right here, WQAM. We will talk to you guys before the next game, Dolphins and Lions, for 2 hours. You got Dan Day coming up after the game is over for 1 hour. You guys can get your calls in live. We will talk to you rascals next time.
Well, folks, that's a wrap on the preseason